Hi everyone, this is the second segment of my Purposeful Arcana, and today we'll be talking about the Empress and the Emperor. As I said in the last video, I'll be doing these in installments of 2, so the first video just was going to be 3 just because it made more sense to do the first one in a 3, whoops. Kind of a mess today, but whatever. Always do these just authentically and raw, so first take is the first take, so whatever. But anyways, so the first one just made sense to do it in the pair of 3, well, not pair necessarily, but the in the segment of 3, because you've got the Fool who kind of stands alone, and then you've got the Magician, and then the High Priestess. So anyhow, so today we will be talking about the Emperor and the Empress, and they go together. So I'm excited. Hope everyone is well. Now, the Empress comes first. Oh, by the way, this deck is the wooden deck by Skull Garden on Etsy. Wonderful deck. A personal favorite of mine. It's very animal and nature oriented. So, anyways, something that I wanted to do with these videos is also kind of show off decks. So, these are the aces. Anyhow, we'll go ahead and get started. Because like I said, I want to make these short as well, because that's something else that I feel geared more to do, is keep my videos short and to the point now. Because when I first started making YouTubes, sorry, I've got this kind of sitting in a weird spot, so I'm going to try not to be as animated, which is hard for me, but so keep this from being like, whoa. But anyways, when I first started, my videos were quite long, so I don't want to do that anymore, because I know how hard it is for me personally to watch a video that is very long, so I don't want to do that to you guys. But anyways, so to begin with the Empress. This is a card that I find comes up a lot, and I have a different kind of view about this. This is a card that, to most people, embodies divine femininity, but I also have a unique perspective on divine femininity, and that was, I believe, my last Periscope before I decided to bid adieu to Periscope. So, with that being said, I have a different perspective on the Empress. We often look at the Empress as meaning like pregnancy and just embodying only women, and I don't necessarily feel that way. I feel that the Empress, while she does embody these feminine qualities are not necessarily strictly qualities that only women possess, because that is kind of what we're going to look at with the Emperor. That's like saying that being assertive is something only men are. And I don't think that's true. Same thing by saying that only women are creative. I feel that that is this weird sort of sexist dynamic that can be applied in tarot that also is gender stereotypical and heteronormative. And I don't like applying that. And that also dives into the divine femininity type of thing that I discussed in my Periscope. I believe that you, as a person, regardless of your sex, are someone who can embody a grand scheme of qualities, and that they are not strictly, I guess, restricted to a sex. I think that's silly. To sit there and say that men can't be creative unless they're just feminine is silly to me, and to say that women can't be assertive unless they are masculine is silly to me. So, with that being said, I don't feel that the Empress has to be that. I feel that the Empress embodies our inner divine connection to our sense of self. And that is why she is so important. Because she, or just the card itself, represents our inner connection. She embodies the water element as a whole to me, because it reminds us that within ourselves we have this whole giant foundation of beautiful creativity, sensuality, of all this important stuff that we often don't tap into. And it just lays down there and is forgotten about. And that's why this card is so important. And it often gets pulled a lot, because it's something that we just forget about. And this is such an important card in tarot. It's one of my favorites. And with that being said, it can also be bad, because if you water signs understand this, and being too into your water element, you can be very spastic almost, and just over flooded with emotion, and then that's too much too. If you are so consumed by your emotions, then you are just literally flooded, and then that is what this card can remind you too. It can be bad in a way if you are over flooded with your sense of self, and that you aren't able to control that sense of balance. So, moving on to the Emperor. Once again, the Emperor embodies these sort of qualities that, when pulled, most tarot readers want to apply that this is a masculine card. That this is a time to be in tune with your masculine energies. That you need to be more masculine, or that you need to be more assertive. And that is true. This is a card that, no, I'm not saying that it's true to be more masculine. I'm saying it's true to be more assertive, to seek your sense of stability. And sure, yes, this card can embody a father figure, because there's nothing wrong with embodying stereotypical gender norms if that is what you feel is right for you. Let me just say that. Like, if you are a woman and you love femininity, because don't get me wrong, I am very feminine in a lot of very stereotypical feminine ways. That's fine. But I don't feel that it's right to automatically apply those heteronormative characteristics, is basically my point. So, with that being said, these two cards certainly can embody a mother figure or a father figure, if that so applies to the specific sort of guidance that's being sought in the sort of placement that it's representing. Like, let's say you are reading and the card actually applies to a person, and it embodies a father figure in someone's life, or a mother figure in someone's life, or that the person is very motherly or fatherly. So that's different. That can be different. That's not what I'm trying to say. But as a whole, this card reminds us that you have the potential to be that earthly person, to be the person who can achieve what you need to seek in order to feel safe and to have that comfortable sort of life. But you have to be the person in order to go out and do it. That's what the Emperor reminds us of. He's holding this sort of, I'm not sure what it is. It almost looks like an ankh, but it's not an ankh. But whatever it is, it reminds me of a key. And to me, it reminds me of the key to his happiness. And so, what we see here is that ultimately, when you pull the Emperor, you are in charge of your happiness. You are the king here. You are the one who will get shit done. And that's the point of this card. And that's why it's so important. And when it gets pulled, it reminds you that you are in charge, and you need to take charge. Now, this card can also be bad. Like I said, this is the point of why I'm doing this series, is to remind you that each and every single card of the major arcana is so beautiful and so important and so potent. But it also reminds us of negative aspects too. And that's why they're so important, because they can either remind you of a positive perspective or a negative perspective in what you need to see. Now, when we are looking at the Emperor and why he can be bad, he reminds you that you do not need to let your ego be out of control, because it can be so easy to think that you can have everything, that everything is within your reach. And that's not true, because you need to, once again, just as we saw with the Empress, you need to have a sense of balance. There needs to be this sort of balance, because if you're not within balance, then you're all over the place. There needs to be a sense of balance, my friends, with these two sides of yourself, the earth and water. Be in tune with yourselves. I feel like you need to be both the Emperor and the Empress. I try to be. And that's what divine femininity is to me. It's not divine femininity, it's just true inner divineness. And that was kind of what I talked about in my Periscope. I love these two cards so much. So, hopefully that gives you guys a better perspective on both these cards. And also, I kind of touched on the whole divine connection with ourselves again, and it gives you a better perspective on that as well. And like I said, these are just my beliefs, and like I said, I'm not here to argue, so if you don't agree, that's fine, but I'm not here to argue. So, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope this, like I said, gives you a better perspective, and I'll be doing the next segment. I'm not sure what the next ones are. I can't think off the top of my head. But anyways, links and stuff are in my bio. Not bio, rather, but the description for contact information at my website. And I also just announced a sale today that'll run throughout the whole weekend. 15% off. And I'm doing 2 giveaways right now. So check that stuff out, guys. And don't forget to subscribe. So, namaste.